friends, this is Jazz, bringing you back to The Sims Let's Talk. This time I am doing The Sims 3, yes. As I said, originally I was thinking it to be a Sims 4 Let's Talk, but then I'm like, no, I'm not just limiting it to The Sims 4. This is Claire Jackson. She's going to be doing, you know, originally I planned a baby challenge, but now it's just going to be a family challenge with Claire. Because I don't have any money. Yeah, I have another file for that. Anyway, guys, I'm mostly going over some updates here. And also, I apologize if I cough once in a while. I know that could be aggravating, but I have an allergy or cold or something with my throat. So, but I wanted to get this out because I realized it's been 2 weeks. Wow, where does the time go? Anyway, the update is just pretty much about my channel in general and my, life. I know I talk about myself a lot, but I mean just in general. Recently I've been trying to get myself into a healthier state, in a way. I'm not, for one, I'm not morbidly obese or anything like that. Even though my aunt, and she does it more to motivate me, maybe it's not the right way to do so, but she says, oh, you're overweight and that. Yes, I admit I am overweight, but I am not obese. As I'm standing here, I'm 166 to 168 pounds. Now, if I was taller, if I was even in the 5 feet area, I might not even be considered overweight by much. It's just that point. I mean, I was 180, which I could see I was getting it to a terrible state then, but I have lost a little bit of weight since then, but I'm trying to kind of lose weight a little bit by trying to count calories and keep, I haven't gotten into exercise yet. I just got to figure out what is for me. You kind of see what I mean there. And also, I'm trying to get into a better sleeping state. For the last long time, I've had trouble sleeping, for, the longest time. It got to a point where I was up till on, I'm trying to think of how to say it. Yesterday, I couldn't go into work because I was up till 6 in the morning. I got an hour of sleep. I fell asleep at 1:30, woke up at 2:30, and then was up until 7. I couldn't go into work because of that, and my allergies were acting up, or whatever it was, cold allergy, but it was mostly the lack of sleep. So it got so bad I was up till 7 in the morning, pretty much. So I have to learn to get a proper sleep and routine where I go to sleep at a good time and get 8 to 10 hours of sleep instead of the 1 hour I got. So mainly, I am still doing this channel, don't get me wrong, but right now, the main thing I want to focus on is me getting into a better place that way. I've been having trouble, because of my cold, allergy, sleeping, I've been having a lot of trouble with work. I was lucky the last 2 Fridays, well, not in a row, but I'm not doing too bad on Friday. It's Tuesday that's the worst for some reason. But there's a lot of things health-wise that I have to kind of keep in mind. So I am still planning to do my channel. You're still going to get uploads and everything, but it may not be as everyday frequent. But I know my most loyal friends on YouTube will completely understand that. One person particularly I know will, because this person and usually sometimes needs to look after themselves as well too, so it can be busy. So, I know that I will have understanding, but I just want to kind of prepare you guys. I am still planning to do the Sims Let's Talks, and there's still going to be a few Let's Plays. I'm just kind of slowly working on myself, and there's still going to be card openings as well. So, there's not going to be much of a change, but what I mean is more the sporadic uploads. They may not be as frequent. I want to try to also focus myself on projects. Like, I'm not going to, like, actually, one thing to explain about my problem with sleeping also could cause a problem when with my YouTube channel as well, and my content making as well. See, I feel my mind goes 100 miles a minute. Now, that is an exaggeration, guys. Those who take literally, I don't literally mean it that way. But just picture this. Think about, like, going to bed, for example, and then think about thinking your favorite game, your favorite TV show, what you're going to do the next day, what you want to eat. Like, think of all that bouncing around in your head when all you want to do is lay down and go to sleep. That is my problem. It also affects my video making abilities because I get so many ideas in my head that just sound so good at the time they come up in my head. I start to do them. Then halfway through, something happens. I think of another idea. I get so much on my plate that it's hard to really do videos because I get overwhelmed by all those things that I started and I have to do. So it's really annoying. Like, if anyone does, and I'll even put the question in the comments in case you guys don't watch it this far. If you guys have any ideas, for one, how to maybe at night to slow down my brain a little bit, or ideas to focus on, right? Like, I've been doing a little better. Like, last night, I gotta say, was the best night of sleep I've had in a long time. I laid down, I got ready for bed at like 7 or 8. I know awful early, but I just wanted to try to get myself like rewired in a way and give myself some time. I laid down, and every time I thought of something that would trigger me, like excite me or get me overwhelmed, I wouldn't slap myself. I wouldn't physically slap myself, but I would mentally, like, say no, like I push myself away from that idea, and then try to just have a blank mind as possible. I know no one completely has a blank mind, right? There's always something going on to a degree. But I try to kind of make it like a blank canvas and just shut my eyes and focus on sleeping. And that, like, I was lucky I was able to do that last night, because for me, that is not an easy thing. So I got at least 10 hours last night, guaranteed, if not a little bit more than 10 hours, which for me is a big thing, honestly. Oh yeah, I'm just trying to steal. Yeah, I know. This is mostly an update type of video, a vlog type of video, so I apologize if I'm not always so focused on the gameplay itself, but I use this time to kind of update my subscribers. Now, it's better than seeing my face all the time. I'm just telling you that. But mainly she has a kleptomaniac trait, so she can go and steal things once in a while. So, what else was I going? But yeah, and also the same advice. Like, does anyone have an idea that could help me lower my projects down and how to just focus on them? Because as I said, before I say this is just a trigger warning to those who have actually been diagnosed with this disability and think I'm like, this is just I'm just springing out what I'm saying. I mean, no offense to them. So, I swear, though, that I might have some mild ADD. Because, like, I don't know what else causes such sporadic impulses. Like I said, when I say it, I said ADD, or attention deficit disorder, not attention deficit hyperactive disorder, or hyperactivity. Which way, correct me in the comments, which way you say hyperactive or hyperactivity. But I think it's hyperactive, I'm pretty sure. Because I'm not impulsive where I don't, like, get up and walk around so much, or move my legs so much, or I'm not, like, disruptive, really, of anything, but it's more impulsive in ways where I might do something and not think all the way through. Now, it doesn't mean I would do something dangerous. Like, I am the complete opposite, and I really think things or overthink things through in that department. But when I say impulsive, I kind of mean I might get so excited about a game or something, and I might just put my mind to that I want that. And then I might not quite think, well, do I need it? Like, do I need it? Will I continue with this? If I get this game, will I see it through? I don't always think things through when I purchase things. Now you could say, oh, I might just be a shopaholic. No, not at all. I don't just go out to shop. Like, I wouldn't just go and say, oh, I have to get this. Like, if it's something that, like, it's usually game or card related, so it isn't the fact that I'm altogether shopaholic, and I don't need to do it every day, right? You know, I mean, how some who have it severely. It's just that when I see something and get really excited about it, even my aunt says this, I slow my brain down, slow down. So, for those who, if anyone here watching this does have ADD, like, one, I don't mean any offense, and two, may I ask you, with what I said to you, those who are on the higher functioning end that can explain, right, and understand it, should I be evaluated for that? Like, it is a serious question, right? Because, like, that and those on the autism spectrum, as I said, there's been a psychiatrist, a family friend, like, those two at least think that I'm somewhere on the spectrum. Very high up on the spectrum, but they think I am. And one person said, oh, no, honey, and that's just the way my family friend talks. To those she cares about, you are. She was almost adamant. And the thing is, I have not got a complete formal diagnosis. I actually did see a psychiatrist. But again, this psychiatrist was canned very quickly. Like, if I had continued with this person, I may have gotten a diagnosis, and I may not have. But either way, if this person stuck through, I probably would have known whether I do or don't by this point. So, I mean, I think I've heard some of those on the spectrum may have issues with sleeping as well, which that I do. So that does connect a little bit. Like, it's funny. During the day, almost all I wanted to do was sleep. But during the night, it's like a party is going in my head. Like, okay, I mean, I suppose that, like, there's people like that too. I'm not the only one, I'm pretty sure. And again, those who have some sleeping issues, or, okay, we'll just put it this way. Those who have had issues with sleeping but now have it a little easier, what are some tips? Like, what are some tips to get my brain to slow down and me to get used to going to sleep at night and getting up and being productive during the day? Because I honestly think that is the biggest thing that affects things like this. Like, I don't get the proper sleep at night, and during the day my brain is too lazy to do anything. So I'm just trying to sort it all out. I said the main thing is my health, and I know you guys would understand that. So I said YouTube has given me an outlet, right? Honestly, I don't care if I got nothing or penny, nothing, or if I actually made it bigger, right? Like, I don't care where I go with it, honestly. And the way I see it is that like, where I'm at now keeps me humble. Those who, I'm not in it, you know what, I can't say that everyone who makes it big are full of themselves. I don't want to judge, right? There could be people who are the nicest people and they're still humble, right? But I see often those who make it really big tend to kind of, maybe I can't even say it's all them. It could be that once you get bigger, like if you get so many subscribers, for example, and so many comments, you get so many, it's hard to be not respectful. You could always be respectful, right? If you could choose to. But it's hard to respond to all of them, and I can understand that. But there are some people who get big on YouTube and don't think that the smaller people deserve their time of day, right? It isn't just YouTube either. I don't think there's many other platforms, Instagram, Facebook, and not even all social media either. I know this is a weird thing for me to bring up, but on the subject of autism, those who know, a lot of you know Temple Grandin, who are in the autism community, Grandin, and honestly, if you're autistic and high functioning, she will be almost like your best friend. She'll give you all the time of day. But if you are nonverbal or very low functioning, she doesn't think you're worth her time. And I don't know if she had always been this way. I mean, I can't say that could have been her from the beginning, but she's pretty famous in the autism community, so I don't know if this is since she's become really well known or what, but I mean, I can't say this because I've never met her, and to be fair, I don't think I would be the one to give the right opinion on this, because if I was on the spectrum, I would be considered very high functioning, so I probably would get the time of day from her, but I work, okay, I should slow down and rearrange that word. I go to my workplace with individuals on the lower end of the autism spectrum. I spend time with them, right? And I mean, they can be anyone with a disability can be some of the most loving people. And me, just because I'm on the higher end of a disability, we'll just say a disability for now, does not mean I think that those on the lower end aren't worth any time, or any of my time. In fact, honestly, they're some of my favorite people. Yeah, some of you might be thinking, but I mean, I know I said it. I have some friends here on YouTube are very understanding. I told some of them that I was semi-diagnosed with it, and they're completely understanding. But there's probably some of you who are thinking, wow, you're spending time with those. Again, I'm not saying this to be offending, that's probably what some of them think, with mentally challenged individuals. Yes, and I love it, right? I mean, I would never use the R word, no matter, what. But say, I had an uncle who was mentally challenged, and people use the R word with him all the time, and my father hated it. I hate it. He had since passed, though, but he was one of the most loving people ever. I mean, I'll admit I never got the best end of it, because when I was a child, literally, when I was 4 to 5 years old, or no, 3 to 5 years old, I don't know exactly when, maybe even to 6 years old, he went to give me a hug, and I just hid. I kind of recoiled. And since then, he wouldn't hate me or anything, but he would never say my name. He would call me my mother's name. And he's my uncle through my father. He was my father's brother. So it wasn't my mother. My mother was his stepsister. So in other words, his stepsister, he paid more attention to and remembered more. But again, I blame myself. But a lot of people have said to me, Jazz, or Haley, for those who really know me, or Lizzie. Well, I have Lizzie on Facebook because a lot of things happen, and profiles, I couldn't log into my old one, so I used one of my middle names for it. But anyway, they were like, Jazz, it is not your fault. You were a child, and it just was weird to you. Right? It's not that you meant any harm. And I didn't. I know I didn't, but I still felt so bad about it that he was just trying to show me affection, and I just shrugged away. I mean, honestly, if I could go back in time and have my mind now in that body, I would give him the biggest hug. Like, I cannot believe I was so insensitive, but again, I was a small child, so, as I said, I may have been only 3, so, it was something that it wasn't because of his disability. I mean, it's just I wasn't used to being around him all the time. Right, I mean, okay, right now, like, now, yes, I would give him the biggest hug. I might shower afterwards, but I would. It's not because it's everyone, guys. It isn't just those with disabilities, right? I have OCD, that has been confirmed, so I just don't like to be held for very long, or even touched, right? Like, if someone touches me on the hand, or I can't shake hands without washing my hands afterwards. It's to that degree. That it's not as severe as, like, for example, Howie Mandel, for those who know who I mean, but it is bad in the way that, I mean, I can wash hands, I can be hugged, but it takes a little while. It can't be for long. Like, maybe like a quick 5 to 10 second hug, I'll accept. Or a side hug, maybe a little longer. But my point of all this is that I highly respect those with all forms of special needs. They're some of my favorite people. Unless I am on the computer talking to someone, I am not good with social interaction with others. Like, unless I can be the main talker and it's about my subject of interest, I really not freak out, literally, like, out, but internally, I freak out, right? It can be pretty bad, guys. Like, right now, I'm recording by myself, and you guys are hearing this afterwards, so it is different, and I'm not face-to-face with someone. That does not mean I hate any individual, right? It's just the fact of social interaction in general. Like, I'm not as bad with those with special needs because I know they're non-judgmental. For the most part, there have been a few that are, but they themselves are on the higher functioning end of a disability, so they have more awareness to social oddities to a degree. So, but for the most part, like, my friend, I even said his name, Ryan, he's one of my best friends now. He himself, of his autism, is on the higher end of his type of autism. So I'm not saying he's low functioning. There are others I know that are lower functioning. But like, my whole point about this was that it isn't just social media that can look down on people if they find them unworthy once they become bigger in popularity. Again, pardon me, I need a drink. That's why I always get water when I know I'm going to record something. I've tried to do it a lot better with eating and that, like with eating and drinking. Like, I had a really bad day. Well, I forget what day it was this week. I had over 2,000 calories easily. And, like, I did okay. I had a couple buns with the meat that is 90 calories for the whole pack. I had 2 buns which were 170 per, which usually they're 120. My aunt got the higher calories for some reason. So I did good. My aunt made me some rice, and I said, okay, I guess I'll do okay. I had apples and carrots and the little bit of rice that was like 700 calories. Then I went and ate the whole rest of the darn pan of the rice. I don't know why. I was doing so good, but the rice she made was so good. I mean, I teasingly said to her, it is your fault you made it so good. Like, she knew I was teasing. Partially your fault because it's so good. But yeah, as I said, for the rest of the week, I stayed within a little bit. If I went over my calories of 1,200 any at all. It was only a little bit. So I've been doing better the other days. And hopefully if I'm lucky today, I'll do relatively good. Maybe only have 500 calories. Because I had a couple chicken burgers today, which would be like 540 or something calories. So, but I doubt it. I'm probably going to have an ice cream or something later. But I weigh myself Friday, and today is Wednesday, so I have to be good the next 2 days, at least to not gain so much if I'm going to gain it all. I don't want to gain it all. I mean, if I stay the same, that would even be better than gaining. But I want to try to stay under the 170 calorie weight limit. I mean, there was a time where I was 135 pounds. I mean, I was 180 before that, but I lost so much weight, and then I put it back on. I mean, to be fair, it did happen slowly, which for me was a shock. For everyone, it was a shock, but I still gained it. Like, that was the lowest I have been, except for when I was a child. I mean, like, in an adult, that was the lowest I've been. And that was, like, 19, 20 years old. So I was like 7 years ago. Since I was literally in a good weight place. So maybe if I'm lucky, if I do good, like with my sleeping and my eating, like I think when I have a lack of sleep mentally, that affects me too. So it affects everything else. So maybe eventually someday I'll be in a better place. So also want to top that, so I have videos that have been recorded months in advance. So in one video I could look as thin or thinner than I am in some other videos, or more. Like in the older videos I might look a little bit bigger. That is a bit of a warning to you, those that show my face. So what the heck is she doing?
Zork.
I was gonna say, it looked like she was sleepwalking or she was a zombie. My god. Oh, it's too late. So I best go home then. Because I can't visit anyone else. Gee, what was I going to say now? Oh, wait, I'm pregnant. I forgot. Not me, guys. I meant my character. Gosh, I wish. Okay, I know I don't wish. Honestly, I don't know if I've ever said this, and I won't get into too much information otherwise, but I cannot conceive. There is no way possible that I'd be able to bear biological children. Like they said, I have no egg sac and no uterus. So, well, they say this. Men, if you want to cover your ears, you can. I don't even have a woman's monthly cycle. Yeah, you girls watching this will probably, oh my god, you are so lucky. Yeah, actually, I am. I don't have to go through the cramps and everything once a month. Well, I mean, I suppose with my IBS, I go through quite a bit of worse pain. Well, you know, I'm sorry, guys. I'm sorry, guys, for those who go through it. I don't understand. I never will understand. But for me, my IBS is terrible. It's like if they had a degree of it, it would be chronic and high. So, but just like I don't understand your point of view, you probably don't understand mine unless you have it. So, I mean, I guess I'm not so lucky on that front. But I am lucky about the lack of monthly, you know, because I don't have to worry about any of that. So, I mean, it can be sad too, though, not ever being able to have a child of my own. But at the same time, I don't think now, anyway, I would be mentally ready for one. I mean, I'm either okay, this may sound wrong, and I don't mean it in the wrong way, but I might be extremely neglectful. I wouldn't just sit there and ignore the child if they were like, I'm hungry, no. But I would kind of either be too active, too on them, or not notice at all, almost, unless they went right up to me. right? So I just wouldn't be, and it's not like I'd be doing it to be mean at all. That's just the way my brain works. I'm either too attentive or not attentive enough. I'm not about, I mean, no parent at first is the perfect parent, I understand that, but also mentally, like, I wouldn't be in a right place. Like, you know the saying, kids do what they see. Well, they would probably see my lack of effort going, for example, to work or wanting to go out or leave the house, and they would probably copy that. So I would want to be in a better place mentally to be able to have a child, whether I adopt it or whatever. I would want to know that I could handle it, which right now, or even 10 years from now, I don't think I'd be able to. And I suppose you would say, well, you're mature enough to admit that and to understand that. Yes, I am. It still is sad, but I am. There have been moments where I did want a child, but I also have to think if I want a child, it has to be for the right reason, right? And not because, for example, I don't want my line to end here, or that I want someone to love, right? I'm okay, yeah, well, I guess wanting to love a child is great, right? But just to want someone to look up to you, and that is not the right reason to have a child, guys. And if that's your mindset, then you shouldn't have any children unless you are mentally in the right place and fully prepared for all the responsibility. I mean, I know you'd be arguing, oh, but there's kids who have nothing out there. Well, yeah, I think they would rather be in, for example, somewhere, a foster home or something, than being with a parent not ready or abusive. I mean, I suppose if the area they lived was terrible, then no, I suppose they would rather try to go somewhere else, but, like, you should, just to get a child out of the foster care system, or just because you need someone to love you and that, it's not the right reason. You have to really want to love a child and accept them for who they are, and not it be your fault they go on a mental path, a psychopath or something. Like, I've seen even some of the best individuals, like, on documentaries and everything, that had everything right in their head but still end up having bad luck. So, like, I recently watched a documentary about, I think his name was Moses, and not God, or not about Jesus or God or anything, but a boy, his name was Moses, and a couple wanted to have a child in the middle of their oldest and youngest child. So, and they thought, oh, those in Africa and that don't have anything, so they adopted the little boy. A year or two later, they wanted to rehome him because there was some issues, I guess, with him. That isn't right. Like, because they had some issues. I mean, I guess I heard things from the father saying that he would have a knife and try to threaten everyone, but I don't know if that is all true. Like, I mean, I know sometimes things can be unpredictable, but you have to be in the right frame of mind yourself to take a child. Like, this couple, and there was even a woman who said, no, don't rehome him. Work with the adoption agency and that to put him back into the system. But no, this family rehomed him, even after being highly warned that it's the wrong thing to do. So they probably weren't mentally in a good place. Like, honestly, I'm shocked I don't know if they still did have their other children, but, I mean, I can sympathize that maybe they weren't in a good place with the kid, but honestly, I don't think they should have adopted another child. They should have been good with the two they had, that everything was working for them. Now, I'm not not saying those should have more than 2 children. No, you can have more than children if you definitely know you can handle it no matter the situation, right? But from everything I heard about that couple, they should not have had that 3rd child. If they were doing okay with the 2 children they had, they should have stuck with it. They should have stuck with what they knew, pretty much. Like, for example, that's what I'm doing, sticking with what I know. I know I would not be a good representation of someone who should look after any kids. Now, I'm not saying that I'm really mean and cruel. I mean, if I was to look after a child for an hour or something, I might be fine to babysit. But to have a child and be the main carer for it, no. And even babysitting, I don't know if I'd be great by myself for a long period of time. Like, if I was at my cousin's daycare, I might be able to entertain the kids there with my cousin there, like doing something else in the kitchen for a short period. But being the main person in charge, no. Like, mentally, I'm just not there. Like, I'd probably be, like, anywhere I like to be solo, in a way, and kids can make a lot of noise. And with my sensory issue, that just wouldn't work. I'd be so overwhelmed by the noise that I'd probably not think and leave the room at the least. Right? I know that doesn't all. I'm not making myself sound like a very representable person, but I'm being honest. And when it comes to kids, like, I know that it isn't the right thing for me, even though there are moments where I kind of wish that it was. But yeah, I know it's been more of a chatty vlog thing than anything, but it feels kind of good to get a lot of things like that off my chest, right? And I have, like, as I said, like, I have a cousin who has 1 child. Anyway, like, the way I put it is that I get all that, like, I give all the love and that through my cousins, in a way. And, like, although the sad thing is I'll never be an aunt either, because I have no siblings. I never did have siblings. My mother wanted another child, but because of her, I told you that, my mother and father both have passed from diabetes. Well, my mother died of diabetes for sure, like diabetes-related issues. My father, well, he was diagnosed before he died with diabetes, but I think it was a blood clot that escaped and went to his heart or something. So I don't know if the diabetes had caused that to happen. But both my parents had diabetes. My father was just diagnosed within the day or the day before he died. So he got it later in life. My mother had it since she was younger than me. She was 23. So, oh yeah, the reason I brought this up, my mother almost went blind giving birth to me. So she would completely go blind if she had had another kid. So they didn't want to risk that, not being able to see me or my sibling if she had risked it the second time. So I was an only child. So some of you are probably thinking, well, isn't that great? You get everything. Yes, and I suppose I can say that. But at the same time, there's moments where it's no. I would have loved to have someone to grow up with, to play video games with, to, if they did not have a disability, to teach me the higher end of life. I mean, if I were to have a sibling, they would have only been a couple years younger than me. So they would be like 2 grades behind me. So if we were in high school together, if I was like in 12th grade and they were in 10th grade, and they did not have any disabilities in that field, they could have taught me the ups and downs of teenage life back then. Like, I could have had someone to look up to, even though I was the one older. And I mean, I suppose at the same note, they could have had another child with a disability, either like or worse than mine too. So if that was the case, I could have had someone that could go through everything with me, right? Someone who I could have helped with what I knew, and that I wouldn't be alone. So, I mean, I suppose everyone is different, and maybe I could have had a sibling that was no disability included but was ashamed of me. I mean, it could have gone any way. It's just the fact I never had any siblings whatsoever, whether it was good or bad. I hadn't, like, and as I said, I see my cousins more like my siblings. So, I mean, I'd never be an actual aunt by the term of it, but I could always be a cousin aunt. Like, whatever. I'm sure they wouldn't mind if I had asked anyone if I could be like that, because I've never actually had that situation, right? And like, I know, like, my cousins I talk about are like my second cousins, so I would almost be like an aunt anyway, but they're only like at the most 13 years younger than me. So if I were to be like an aunt to anyone, it would be to the children of them, right? Or even my other cousin's daughter who's 10, because I'm almost old enough to be her mother. So, but as I said, like, it's sad because sometimes people say, oh, they don't like their siblings, oh, we squabble with our siblings. Well, at least you have someone to squabble with. I suppose I took that on my poor mother. Yeah, and this episode of The Sims Let's Talk, let's make Jazz sound as unlikable as possible. I hope that I'm not trying to come across that way. As I said, that's just the way I mentally think, right? And I don't know whether when I was arguing with my parents or my aunt, if it is the fact that I'm just being mean, which I don't think so, because I never have terrible intentions, or maybe it's something that they said I don't understand or don't quite get, and it makes me frustrated. And then, as I said, like, I feel bad for them. Like, and I am forever grateful to all four of them, my other aunt included, for putting up with me. And I know put up with me, that sounds very, like, degrading on your end, but it's true. Like, I mean, the only person I didn't care for that had to put up with me was my stepmother. But even then but I mean, okay, I'm only saying this because a lot of things just went on that my whole family just doesn't care for her much. But the only defense I can give her is that I am not the easiest to get along with, and I can understand her maybe being a little frustrated with me. But there were times where I was almost great. Like, I did what she said, and, like, without question almost. And I'm not saying I was like this all the time with her. There were times where like, if she was upset, it was warranted. But a majority of the time with her, if she asked, I'd do it. Right? Because I was kind of afraid of her at the time. So even sometimes if I did something right, I didn't do it right, kind of thing. Like, she was just a little too hard on me. That's the only person I could say was legitimately not a good reason too hard on me. My mother and my two aunts, they have kind of warranted reasons if we argued, right? Like I said, I don't often easily see others' point of view. I mean, if I have time to process it, like if someone's typing something to me on Facebook or other internet sites on the computer, I have time to read it properly, and I'm not having someone say, well, or to question why, like, I'm not responding. I could take some time to respond. But if I'm talking to someone and we have a disagreement, they might just kind of keep talking and voicing their opinions, and then I get frustrated. Like, I don't have the time to think through my answer properly or response. And then once we start, it's harder to stop, because I'm at a point where I am so mad where I just want to continue the argument, because I just still have that in me, that confusion and that maybe not anger all the time, but frustration. And I honestly do feel bad for those I'm arguing with. Oh, having the baby, or babies, or I don't know how many. But is there anyone out there like that they need time to process someone's opinion. Like, if they say something, you need time, and like for me, I need time, and I need to be alone. I need, like, that's often time now. If I feel I'm gonna have a real bad argument, I go upstairs. I sit there and think about what that person had said to me. I can't be with that person if I'm processing something, because they'll keep egging on about, not everyone, I mean, I'm just saying this in general, they keep egging on, and I get frustrated and confused, and then I argue and yell, and, I mean, I don't think I've ever really gotten very violent before. The worst thing I ever did was push someone, but not even in a way that would cause any harm. That was out of frustration, and I don't know why I was actually frustrated then. Maybe that person kept teasing me so much when I think I was in a bad mood anyway, which I don't know why I was. Sometimes it happens that sometimes someone can just have a cloud over their head and not know why. But I felt bad about it, and I just try to refrain myself not to get that far. Again, that was years ago. I think that was just either before or just after I started YouTube. So I've learned since then how to be not like, that was the only time that I ever did. So I learned to try not to let that happen again, because that's not the right way to resolve anything. Alright, and I'm going to put this in the comments below too, because this is important and I talk too much over it. I need to ask you a question about the Fractured Butthole, the South Park game, I mean. Or my Let's Play in general. I'm working on it, but I have some issues. One, I can only record it at night, when it's dark. Even with something covering it, it blows and the light goes through there. And I only got one camera battery. So, even if it was daytime, I couldn't record a whole lot at once. I'd have to wait till the battery charged. And all of this kind of stresses me out, because I want to be able to get this Let's Play done. I also really want to play the game. But then my brain gets too lazy because of all this stress. Stress can cause me just to not want to do something at all, as I mentioned. So I'm just asking, I've been looking up capture cards. I'm definitely not going to be getting one right away because it's really pricey, but I want one to know, and I want to know how to do it on the Switch. So I'm going to type this question below as well. Should I just wait to do the Fractured Butthole until I get a capture card, whenever that is, whether it's a year or 2 years from now, and go and play the file that I already started if I really want to play it? Or should I just look up and find other ways to record it, and just to record, like, whether I get another battery, it still might take a while, and my main question is, should I stick with this file, or should I delete the 3, I already did 3 episodes, I already recorded 3 episodes worth of footage, so is 3 episodes too far in for me just to cancel this part of this Fractured Butthole Let's Play until I get better equipment? Because I did not upload it yet. So that's the thing, it's not like I upload it and cancel the Let's Play. Should I just scrap this series until I can do it properly, and then play the file that I played? Or should I stick with this file and just find ways around everything? It's just really confusing, because I really want to play it. I know I played through it once, but I loved the game so much, and I wanted to sit down and play through it, but I know that if I play through it, I gotta record it, and I can only record it when it's dark enough and when I have the battery for it. The SD card is no issue. It's the battery. Like, I recorded, I think, episode 1 or 2 or 3, and then the battery got low really quickly, so I just don't know what to do, guys. I mean, would you guys be okay waiting for the fractured butthole? Even if it's 2 or 3 years down the road that it's uploaded? Because, like, I don't know, I have to really prioritize saving, because my aunt at Christmas, my aunt says I got a $200 budget. So if I saved money to give to her for Christmas, then I could maybe get a good capture card. But that would be all I got for Christmas. So that's the only issue. Like, I'd have to put up with only getting that for Christmas. And not even knowing if it would work properly right away. So, guys, like, when you do that, I want, like, advice on it down below. So, and also, if you have a good capture card that would work for the Switch, let me know. I'm thinking of they did mention Elgato HD 60 might work for the Switch, and they showed how to put it on the Switch, but I'd also need 2 HDMI cables for that as well. Or if someone else has a suggestion, right? Another suggestion for maybe a cheaper capture card or idea of how to hook it up between the computer and the Switch for record footage. I mean, like, the only other thought I had was my iPhone, but that's terrible. That is terrible. Worse than the camera. I mean, I would have a lot more time, maybe, to record because of the battery, but I wouldn't be able to properly get good visual footage. Even with my camera, it's kind of pushing things, right? So, like, I have a lot there in my head. Like, that's the main question I'm going to be asking, because if you guys say it's okay to wait, then I think I will just scrap what I was doing of the fractured butthole. I might save the footage for a review, maybe, that part of the review, but besides that, I would just can it. I mean, it's confusing, because I want to, but I don't, right? I thought I've got so far, yes, 3 parts in, but they're 3 pretty long parts, to be fair. So I think I got to the point where I'm allowed to go to Mr. Mackey to assign my gender properly. So I haven't got overly far into the game, but I got to a decent point. Like, it's really a struggle, right? I mean, I have other LPs to do too, so it's sad, 'cause I want to play the game, but at the same time, I want to complete it as a Let's Play. Like, and normally it would be easy enough to record something and play it, but with this situation, it isn't so. It's not just that easy.
Oh, no.
But yeah, we had our baby, Ryan. And now he's a toddler. And learning to toddle. Ha, ha, I'm clever. Or yeah, I think I am. Oh wait, no, he's learning to body. Whoops. Or just learned. But boy, like, the kid has my hair. Actually, that's one thing I really like about The Sims 3. Is the fact that you can really edit things like clothes and hair and objects. Honestly, it was sad they got rid of that in The Sims 4. You get the hair colors they choose. And almost none of them. There's only a few types of hair that have a little bit of color to it. Besides, like, when I say a little bit of color, I mean along with the regular color, like stripes or whatever. In The Sims 3, you can add different, like, dye different hair. Where in The Sims 4, you get one color on each hair, whether it's blue, pink, blonde, black, whatever. It's only one, unless it's one of those rare pieces of hair that have the mix. And plus, if you get custom content that people know how to edit properly. In The Sims 3, you don't really need to overly worry about that. right? You can, you can just download it. Like, if you want custom content, you can download it, but you can also edit with the inside the game. I mean, I have downloaded a lot of Sims 3 custom content, too. For the kids, more specifically. That is one thing I don't care much about in The Sims 3, is that the lack of custom content for the younger, like the kids and the toddlers. Sorry, I'm just moving a little bit. Literally, my legs were sore. I was not sitting on them, but they weren't necessarily stretched out either. So yeah, I hired a babysitter. Oh yeah, I get what I was doing. I'm trying to steal. I'm shocked a babysitter could come out this late. They're teenagers, aren't they? Will they be... I'm just laughing at that thought that they're at a sitter and then suddenly they're picked up by the police for doing their job. That's the thing about The Sims 3. Teenagers and kids, they have curfews. The kids are like, 6 or 7 o'clock, and the teenagers are maybe 9 or 10, actually, so it is so hilarious thinking that, okay, I guess it wouldn't be so hilarious if that teenager got picked up, and then so did I, and me losing my one kid. That's just hilarious. I mean, it's so funny, like, that's one thing I liked about The Sims 3 and The Sims 2, they had more realism, I think, in that sense. Like, I do like The Sims 4 Parenthood, okay, I like the character values idea, but I don't really care for the fact they didn't add enough, like, memory-inducing things. Like, with Generations, you added things like, like playing pranks and everything, something that Generations would do things for each, like, generation to enjoy. Where The Sims 4, you can make them become better people, I guess. Now, to be fair, I did like it, okay? Like, there's nothing wrong with it, unlike my first pet stuff. Yeah, need I mention more? Or that old ball pet? Okay, I'm sorry, but they fixed it, I know. But it was kind of stupid. I mean, and that was with the toddler stuff pack, so I get it, but... Jeez, I forget what I was gonna say. But yeah, as I said, there's things for all 3 of the Sims series I played. The Sims 2, Sims 3, and Sims 4 that I like. Over another, The Sims 2 I got used to. Like, I know I didn't like it when I first got it, but ever since I started getting used to it, I'm like, I like it okay. Like, the Sims look more realistic, honestly. Honestly, for me, out of all the Sims games, out of all 3, I think that Sims 3 looks the worst for realism. Like, I don't know why, but they look a lot more gamey in this than actual. I mean, I know all of them are gamey, but they look more... you can get attached to the ones in Sims 2 and Sims 4 more quickly than this. To me, the Sims 3 Sims just look a little odd. Like, I still love this game, and I can still enjoy it, right? Especially the fact that the hair colors can be really, like, let's just put it this way. Genetic-wise, this game is best, I think. Like, it looks odd, like the character or the Sims themselves, but when it comes to looking like the parents or whatever, this has it best. The Sims 2 is okay too, but the thing is, you have to do something. Like, if you don't, there's a certain thing you gotta do, unless, like, if you want each Sim child to look different. There's something wrong with The Sims 2 where all Sims will look like your first Sim child. So I think I forget what you have to do, reset it or something. I'm gonna have to look that up. I mean, if you adopt a child, that's different, but if you have a child, another child, like, birth-wise, it'll look a little oddly the same, apparently. So, and when I say that, I mean per household. Each household would have one child that, like, unique. So, The Sims 4 is the mix of that. Like, the genetics is not as strong. But honestly, I think the reason for that is that the kids and toddlers can't always get colored hairs. Like, if you have a blue Sim, then a blue-colored Sim, you know, hair-wise, and a green-colored Sim, you may not get their hair color unless you have one or two hairs that are that color or similar. So, once you become a teenager, you can get the blue and all the hair colors, you know, that are blue and that will work. So it's confusing. Like, with The Sims 3, all hairs can go to all gender, or all ages and genders. So if you made a hair color, they could genetically get it. See, wow, I'm also, like, doing quite a bit. I'm talking about myself, and I'm also reviewing the 3 Sims series that I know. I know there's The Sims 1, but I don't think I'll ever be able to play that, which is, unless they come out with a special remastered Sims 1, I would love that. I mean, even though it's not the old one, I wouldn't care if it was very similar, just update it for the newer computers. That would be great. Honestly, come on, EA. Think of everyone. Because let everyone get a chance to play the game that started it all. I guess it is, like, back in the day, I guess it was revolutionary. In fact, I think it even won a Game of the Year, and it was, in 2000, it was, like, one of the most selling games. Of course, I was watching a video about the top games, or the top selling games each year for so many years. And they had one game per year, I think, since 1980. And in 2000, The Sims is what did it. Or got it. Actually, there was a video of the top game of the year list too, and Pokemon made none of the years, but The Sims made the 2001. I mean, The Sims 1 is what I meant. So it's for its time, it was a really good game. Like, I never actually played it. I never played The Sims until, like, maybe 2014 at all. And then ever since then, I was hooked. So sometimes later, better later than never, if that's what best thing to say. I mean, I couldn't believe it's been 2 weeks. I mean, obviously, I did upload a game overview with kind of a commentary too, but it's still, since my actual Let's Talk, that was 2 weeks, a little bit, either 2 weeks or a little bit over 2 weeks. It was February 28th, so I might be a little late on that. I apologize, but again, a little late than never. Wow, it's like March, 13th? Yeah, March 13th. Actually, I've been hooked to another game, and it wasn't even, like, a game. You guys are going to be, oh, boo, Jazzy. I was hooked to a game on Facebook. Yeah, I don't know if I'd even call that a game to put on a gamer's hall, because really, I don't quite count it, but it's Royal Story, and it's kind of like Farmville was, in a way, only different. Only a little different. And I've played Farmville before my mother died, and I got out of it, but I don't know why, but the game was addicting. And I was up to like 2 a.m. playing it at one point. So, I mean, I guess games like that can be entertaining for a short period. I mean, games like that aren't as good in the way that you have to wait for things to happen or buy things to make it happen quickly. So it isn't like the best game that way, but it's fun if you are going to wait anyway. and want to do other things anyway, so that way you have something extra just to kind of work on. I'm actually at level 15 on it, but you know what? To be fair, there are people I'm either tied or one of the highest level of my friends who are playing it, but there are people that can get into their 70s and 80s, so I haven't wasted my whole life yet. But in 2 days, getting to that level is pretty good. But as you get higher, it's harder to get them, because all the jobs in that are harder. Because you have to wait hours for a certain crop to plant unless you have, like, fertilizer, special fertilizer. I honestly wish that, I honestly wish fertilizer was makeable in this game. Like, easy, I mean. But, as I said, I'm gonna have to really work on a way to slow down my thinking process and, like, to really narrow down what I want to do for the channel, like, at this point in time. So, as I said, I'll make a list of the questions in the comments so you guys can answer them. Like, as I said, the first one obviously was people who know what are good ideas to help me at night and when coming to make videos for my channel, a way to slow my thinking process and to just focus on, like, okay, one, how should I slow my brain down at night when I want to sleep? 2, I have so many projects right now. How do I narrow them down and get those narrowed ones done? And I'm not saying that I should never think of a new idea again, but right now I just want to kind of decide what I want to do, and then after I do them, then I can go back to those other ideas and think of them. That's the main thing. And the third one, what was it? The South Park Fractured But Whole. Should I just get rid of this project and wait till I get a capture card or an alternate method to record it and just play the game, or should I just bite my tongue and record when I can and just play when I can? Like, those are just the main things that do concern me, right? Out of everything, like, I'm just trying to get everything with my life sorted out. As I said, YouTube is part of my life. So, but my main thing is health. Like, I'm not saying I'm going to become a health nut or anything completely, but I mean, in general, sleeping, losing weight, every other thing in the middle. So, guys, I was going to say, like, what also do you guys like better? Sims 2, 3, or 4. Also, if you want to add Sims 1, you can too. If you like that better than all 3 of them, that's fine. Like, that's great. Yeah, first day of work, I wonder how much I'm gonna have to owe. I don't know, I'm delivering tomatoes. Oops. But I remember going to work and I'm like, oh god, what am I gonna owe this babysitter? And in the end, I only owed $75, which that was fantastic. But yeah, I'm in the thievery business, or I'm a thug. Thank you for $75. I'm almost promoted. But as I've been doing a lot lately, I actually just finished Pokemon Emerald, which another thing to add. I got 5 minutes left actually on like my recording. This is pre-recorded. Turns out the games that I got, the Fire Red, the ruby and the emerald and the leaf green, from before, they're all fake. Or what is it? Look, fake, bootleg. That's it. They're all bootleg. You're probably thinking, oh my god, Jazz, you got ripped off. Yes and no, actually. I might do another video on this later. I know, but I will later. I'm not going to over-focus or worry about it now, but that is an idea I've been having that I might stick to, actually, about it. And I'll do research first on how to tell physically about it. Now, my counterfeits weren't obvious. They looked perfectly normal. In fact, it plays almost perfectly normal. That's why I said yes and no. Because yes, they were fake, but I pretty much did get the same experience as the real ones. So in other words, I got lucky fakes. That they weren't so obviously fake that they didn't work the same. The only 2 or 3 things that are different is, one, the way it says it at the beginning, where instead of saying the file has been like something, your previous data will be loaded. Instead, it says the data will be loaded. 2, I cannot really, the berries in my emerald won't work properly at all.
Oh, I got lean.
And 3, sadly, when I'm in the battle frontier, I cannot, unless I keep going and not shut off my game, I cannot get a straight, like if I turn it off, if I rest and the game turns off, I am disqualified because it hasn't saved, even though it clearly says it's saved. These are the only 3 issues I have. And most of them are with Emerald so far. So, I am not 100% sure what to think. Oh, well, Ryan again is a child. Good thing you got to see that. You saw him born, you saw him become a toddler, now he's a child. And I play through it and age him up fully later on my own. So maybe someday I'll come back to that file, maybe I won't. I don't know how close you got to these Sims because I was talking otherwise so much, but he's clumsy and excitable. Oh, you guys get to see him be edited. He's so adorable. Aren't you, Ryan? Yes, you are. Okay, yeah. Nice talk. Yes, you are. But he's a pretty cute Sim. I mean, I guess to be fair, he is kind of cute. Right, they're not terrible looking, but out of all 3 of them, I think just the graphics, they look a little bit more off. Especially with the clothes. Like, if you make custom content, they're pretty much, you kind of could tell where they came from. But yeah, again, I'll write my questions in the comments below. What else? Because I'm really trying to think of where to end here in a way. Like I really do enjoy doing this Let's Talk. That way I can put some Sims content in my game, even though I'm mostly talking over it. You can, if you want to watch it, you can, and you can make your own story. Like, you could say, oh, well, Ryan did this, or whatever. Because I said, I'm not the best at storytelling, but yeah, so anyway, guys, if you enjoyed this Sims Let's Talk number 3, give it a big thumbs up. And if you want to see more, hit the subscribe button for those who are new. And don't forget to hit the bell notification so you'll know when new videos coming out. And I will see you guys in my next video.